The quiet ceremony of diplomatic greeting unfolds inside the Vatican, where the smooth marble floors and towering ceilings remind visitors of centuries of religious influence and statecraft. Lebanese Prime Minister Nawaf Salam approaches with a measured composure, his steps steady, his hands carefully folded before extending them in a respectful greeting. Pope Leo XIV receives him warmly. The exchange is polite and dignified, yet also personal, the kind of greeting that signals more than political formality. It is a moment meant to acknowledge history, shared faith, and a nation navigating deep crisis. Lebanon stands at a difficult crossroads. Years of economic collapse, political paralysis, and regional tensions have strained the country's institutions and tested the endurance of its people. Inflation has eroded the value of everyday income. Public services, once taken for granted, have become unreliable or entirely inaccessible. Electricity shortages, banking restrictions, and rising poverty have reshaped daily life. In this setting, leadership is more than governance. It is a test of resilience. And diplomacy becomes a search for relief that may not come easily. Pope Leo XIV's planned visit to Lebanon at the end of November carries enormous symbolic and emotional weight. Lebanon is a mosaic of religious communities, Muslims, Christians, Druze, each with their own history and identity, yet all sharing the same small territory and, in many cases, the same economic challenges. The Vatican understands this dynamic deeply. It has historically acted not only as a spiritual authority, but also as a quiet diplomatic voice during Lebanon's many crises. For Lebanon's Christian communities especially, the Catholic Church's presence is both moral support and international recognition of their role in the nation's balance. As the two men take their seats, the atmosphere in the room remains carefully controlled, yet not distant. This is not merely a ceremonial exchange meant to be photographed. This is a conversation shaped by urgency, a shared understanding that Lebanon cannot simply continue as it has. Salam, appointed during a moment of political tension, is aware of the growing frustrations across Lebanon. Many citizens question whether any leader has the power to confront the entrenched political blocs, warlords turned politicians, and patronage networks that have shaped the modern Lebanese state. Yet Salam enters the meeting not only as a politician, but as a diplomat, scholar, and someone familiar with the international stage. He gestures toward the gifts he has brought, offering them not just as tokens of respect, but as cultural and historic symbols of Lebanon's identity. Items crafted from olive wood, art from Lebanese artisans whose work speaks of a land both ancient and fragile. Pope Leo XIV receives them carefully, examining the craftsmanship with genuine attention. Gift exchanges in diplomatic encounters often appear small, but they contain meaning. They acknowledge continuity. They signal that both sides recognize the value of tradition, even in a world where political realities shift quickly. The Pope then presents gifts of his own. These are objects tied to faith: a handwritten blessing, an engraved medallion, perhaps a book reflecting spiritual reflection and universal compassion. The exchange underscores the relationship between Lebanon and the Vatican, one rooted not in policy alone, but in shared history, shared communities, and a sense of moral responsibility. There is a quiet understanding here that Lebanon's crisis is not only economic, it is psychological. Many Lebanese citizens describe the feeling of living through a slow collapse. The promises of a once vibrant and culturally influential country have been replaced by doubt and fatigue. Young people leave in large numbers, searching for stability elsewhere. Families hesitate to rebuild homes or businesses, unsure if the institutions that once guaranteed continuity still exist in meaningful form. Religious leaders across Lebanon have noticed this shift. Churches, mosques, and community centers have increasingly become places not only of worship, but of social support and emotional stability. The Vatican's involvement in Lebanon extends far beyond this single meeting. Catholic charities and institutions continue to provide crucial assistance, funding schools, supporting hospitals, and helping refugee populations. Lebanon hosts one of the world's highest numbers of refugees per capita, particularly from Syria, which has added strain on every social and political system. The Pope is acutely aware of this. When he speaks about Lebanon internationally, he often emphasizes the human dimension, the need to preserve coexistence, dignity, and shared identity. Salam outlines the priorities of his government: economic stabilization, negotiations with the International Monetary Fund, a push for constitutional clarity regarding the presidency. Lebanon has functioned without a president for long stretches of time because political factions failed to agree on a candidate. This absence of leadership has created institutional gridlock, leaving the Prime Minister and caretaker government to operate with limited authority. The political vacuum has made the reform process painfully slow. Pope Leo XIV listens without interruption, his expression steady, his attention focused. He understands that political healing requires more than technical solutions. It requires trust not only between citizens and leaders, but between communities themselves. The Pope has spoken frequently about Lebanon's identity as a message, an example of religious coexistence that the wider world can learn from. But today that message is under strain. The two men discuss the role of international partners. The European Union remains concerned about border stability and migration flows. Gulf states weigh their involvement cautiously, often tying assistance to shifts in political influence. Regional powers see Lebanon partly through the lens of broader geopolitical competition. Every form of support is entangled with conditions. Salam argues that Lebanon's stability is not only a domestic issue. If Lebanon collapses entirely, the effects could be felt across the Mediterranean and Middle East. Humanitarian strain rarely stays contained. Pope Leo XIV agrees on the need for peaceful dialogue. He emphasizes that no lasting solution can be imposed from the outside. Lebanon's future must be shaped by Lebanese voices. His upcoming visit, he hopes, will inspire reflection and unity, not serve as an endorsement of any party. The Church seeks to encourage reconciliation and dignity, a reminder that identity is not solely political, but human and spiritual. As Salam rises to leave, the exchange remains warm. The men shake hands, offering words of continued cooperation. The Pope's staff and Vatican officials observe quietly, taking note of the significance of the moment, a gesture, a conversation, a shared acknowledgement of difficulty and the possibility of hope. These moments matter. Diplomacy is often measured not only in agreements or declarations, but in presence and recognition, simply showing up, engaging respectfully, and signalling that a nation is not isolated can shape political narrative and public feeling. Salam exits the room, stepping back into the corridors of the Vatican. Outside, journalists, diplomats, and observers await statements, reactions, interpretations. But inside the room, something quieter and more human took place. Two men acknowledging the suffering of a nation and committing in their own ways to help. The Pope's visit in November is already being prepared carefully. Security arrangements, meetings with religious and civil leaders, public addresses designed to reach not only Lebanon's Christians, but all Lebanese communities. The Vatican intends for the visit to send a message. Lebanon matters, its people matter, its history, culture, and coexistence model have meaning far beyond its borders. For many Lebanese citizens, this message may offer a moment of relief, a reminder that even in crisis, they are seen and remembered. And sometimes in moments of deep uncertainty, that reminder can be the beginning of renewal.
Good morning. Nice to be here today. The honor will be great. This comes from the Biblos.
Promoting dialogue, peace, reconciliation.
That's good for Lebanon and for the land.
This building, the Apostolic Palace, with many of the works of art, architecture. Safe.